I had a complete problem getting on this call. So let me pull up here and we're going to get started. My deepest apologies on this. This never happens.
I'm about to fucking pass out, man. Confidence, and you're like, I'm just not there. Let me ask you a question. If someone were to come for 2 days and spend time with your community and meet new relationships and have a deep experience just with the people there and feel connected, what is that worth? Is that worth $1,000 to the betterment and quality of their life? Is that worth $1,000 to the connections that they're making to people that think like them, that have common values like them, that have bigger dreams and want to have a bigger future? Like, what is that group worth in comparatively to society, when you look at most of society where they're not around people who have dreams, they're not around people who have purpose, they're not around people who want to better themselves, so they're around people who are like, lobsters in a pot and trying to fall out of the pot, and the lobsters are pulling you back down because you have dreams. The rest of the lobsters don't want you to have dreams, so they pull you back down. They're like, get back in this pot, stay normal, stay in the status quo. What's it worth to have a freaking community of people where they're all together and they're not lobsters in a pot, but they're literally like, hey, I'm going in a rocket ship, I have dreams, I want to make this thing happen. What's it worth? Just that aspect of you creating a community is worth something. That has nothing to do with what you're teaching. It has nothing to do with the principles that you're going to teach, the things that they're going to get from your teaching. It's just the community. Is there value to that? Yes. There's value to that. But then there's other values that, like, when you're selling stuff, people go, well, money, they look at it and they go, money is not, I'm not selling a course that has to do with business or money. I'm like, okay, great. So you're selling a course that has to do with communication, helping somebody in their relationships. So what's them saving the relationship worth? Or what's them finding the love of their life worth? Is it worth something? We were sitting there having a conversation the other night. My fiance and I were looking at dogs, like they were Pomeranians. We're gonna get a Pomeranian, a little teacup, right? So we're looking at my fiance. We're on the online. She's like, man, these dogs are $5,000. I'm like, yeah, it's $5,000. Dogs gonna be with you for 10 years. Like, it's like $1 a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like $1 a day. It's a living thing. Like, we'll spend $10,000 on a couch, but you look at a living thing, you're like, people are crazy. People are weird. They'll spend this much money on a car, but they won't invest this much money in their life. They'll invest this money on a couch, but when you look at a dog, it's $5,000. Like, that's expensive to pay for a dog. It's like a living thing. It's not a human being. It's a living thing. How? You know what I'm saying? So these types of things, we get weird. Human beings get weird with stuff like this. They have a dream, but they'll invest money in the thing that they're supposed to invest money in. Or they'll invest money in their rent, they'll invest money in their bills, they'll invest money in the insurances they need to pay, but they won't invest money in their dream. So it's like, what's going on? It's because ultimately, I believe that people have lost a certain degree of value for themselves. So they don't see value in things that they're looking to invest in because they don't see how that value will show up in their life. And the job of a coach, a speaker, an expert, service is to show people that value is there. They may have gone to sleep to it for a little while, they may have forgotten it, but if their abilities come out because of what you're doing, if more of who they are come out, what's that worth to them? That's the big question you gotta ask. If their abilities come out because of what you're doing, if more of who they are come out, what's that worth to them? That's the big question you gotta ask. It doesn't matter whether it's money, it doesn't matter whether it's a relationship, it doesn't make people say all the time, like, well, I'm not teaching something that has to do with money. I'm like, so what? So you're telling me all the other qualities of somebody's life, of the outcome that they get, is not worth it's not worth a particular, you couldn't put a dollar amount on it, you could put a dollar amount on anything. You could go, this thing right here, a relationship is worth $1 million. And you could make a case for it. But the question is, like, how do you get the person who you're selling it to make a case for it to go, yeah, I'm investing in my relationship that's worth $5,000 to go through this course. And if they don't see it of like the future of what that relationship is, because they can't see it, just think about the pain and the cost of, you know, the divorce.
What the fuck is, I don't even know what the fuck I'm eating right now. So I used to eat raw a lot, you know? And after my genetic testing yesterday that I had done, my genetic blueprint from Dr. Renee, 100. When I got my genetic testing yesterday, I don't process meat as well. Like my body does not break down meat to give me the nutrients and stuff. But I like it because you feel good when you eat it, and I don't feel full, you know? Like I don't feel, I shouldn't say I don't feel full, I don't feel like weighed down. I think the question on sales, or the big thing that comes up with people on sales, is always, not always, but sometimes it's like the client doesn't want to do it, or, you know, if the client is not taking action, it's like, what's wrong with the client and what have you. And so I don't think it's a client situation, I think it's a salesperson situation. So if you're a salesperson, it's your situation. I don't think you ever get off the phone and go, it's a client thing, and blame the client, you know? Clearly, if it's not a fit, then, you know, it's not a fit. But most of the time, somebody's on the phone call because it is a fit. So ultimately, you should get the sale, right? And if you're not getting the sale, you give your power away when you get off the phone and you go, the client did this, or the client did that, or blah, 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 or this is why it didn't work out. Like, you literally relinquish your power when you put it on the client. When you take responsibility for the cycle and you go, oh, there's something I did that I could improve upon, and what's that thing that I missed that I can improve upon, then all of a sudden you're back in power. And that's the game you want to play in sales. So too many times I hear people say something about the client, and the client wants something. They want success. That's why they're there. They don't know how to get there, so and you just show them the path. And if you don't show them the path on how to get there, they're not going to be clear on how to get there. If they're not clear on how to get there, they're not going to be confident to take action. They're not confident to take action, they're not going to take action. If they don't take action, they're not going to get their dreams. If they don't get their dreams, then they're going to be unhappy. And you don't want that. So partly this is your responsibility in a big, big way. I would even say it's more of your responsibility than it is the client's. Because you're more caused in the situation, so you're more capable and able to actually make the thing happen. Because you're the leader, you're the salesperson. So as a salesperson, take leadership. Take responsibility. And that's basically the name of the game. So you just have to look at the playing field and know what conversation you're having, because the other mistake you can make is you can treat the high-end client just like you treat the client who's coming in at a lower tier. It's not the same conversation. You have to be able to differentiate on that. A higher tier client doesn't want to be pushed. They're self-determined. They're going to make decisions by themselves. Sometimes at the lower tiers, they need to be pushed. But they need to be pushed in the direction of their own goal. It's their goal you're pushing them towards. So it's not like you're pushing them towards something that they don't want. You're pushing them toward the very thing that they said that they want. Now, you don't kick them through the door, because if you end up kicking them through the door, they're going to come back and kick you in the nuts or kick you somewhere else. So you don't want to do that, but you got to give them a little tap, a little love tap to go, hey, you know, this is the thing you said you want. This is the thing you said is most important to you. If it is most important to you and it solves the challenge that you want to solve and you really want this thing, then why wouldn't you do this thing? Come on, let's do this thing. Let's go ahead and do this thing, all right? And they're like, well, I don't know. I think I need to think about it. And you're like, well, what do you need to think about? Really? Come on. Like, you've been thinking for 2 years or 10 years of your life. What are you going to think for 10 years and 24 hours more is going to make a difference? You've been thinking long enough. So let's think through it right now. Let's make a decision. Boom, you're going to make a decision. Okay? So this is just the cycle of how the conversation goes. Sometimes at the lower tiers. But, you know, at the lower tiers, when you have the right person, they're just like, I'm in. So you don't have to give that person a love tap. They're tapping. They're like, I'm in. So you have to know who you're talking to. Every sales conversation is not the same. It's just not. All right? So the lessons of today are, number one, take responsibility for the conversation. If you don't take responsibility for the conversation, at the end of the day, you get off the phone call and you say, it was their fault. They didn't want to do it. Blah, 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 blah. You didn't do your job. That's it. You didn't do your job. And if you did your job and you went the distance and you went as hard as you could, as fast as you could, as inspired as you could to get the sale done, then at the end of the day, you walk off the phone call and you have nothing to bitch about. You have nothing to say into anything about it, anybody else about it. You have nobody to blame. And since you're not blaming anybody, you're not saying anything to anybody, it proves that you did your job because you don't feel the need to explain yourself. They said, no, you did your job, you went the distance. So you don't need to tell anybody. This is what happened, right? I did my job, client wasn't ready. Great, that's it. But you go on about a story about why the client wasn't ready, and they're this and that, and you talk about the shortcomings in their life. That's your issue because you didn't do your job, okay? So take responsibility, do your freaking job, and don't bitch about your clients. It's number one, okay? Number two, all clients are not the same. Enrolling people at the higher tiers is different than enrolling people at the lower tiers. It's not necessarily because it's a higher tier or a lower tier, but in some cases that is the case, but it's because at the higher tiers, most of the time, the person is more able and capable. That's why they're considering it. So no, you treat a higher end client differently in the sales conversation than you do somebody at the lower tiers, okay? But more so, I should say, you treat the person who's more able and more decisive differently than the person who isn't. You give the person who's able and decisive the opportunity and the freedom to make that decision and do it and just go. And when you give them clarity and you're very clear on what the offer is, the able person is going to act right away. The non-able person is not going to, right? Now, this assumes the fact that you were clear in your presentation, you were really good at what you do, right? If you weren't clear and you weren't really good, an able person's going to go, listen, I'm not dealing with this joker, right? So, people are different. Not all people get treated the same, okay? People are different. So you need to know that in your sales conversation. And you need to pay attention to that of how you have that conversation, okay? That's number two. And number three, I don't even think I said a number three, but I will give a number three. Number three is keep bringing them back to what's most important to them. If you do that, every conversation will feel customized because you're relating it to what the client wants. If you don't relate it to what the client wants and you're just going, here's my program, here's my program, here's my program, the client knows that. There's no connection with you. They feel connected to you because you know what's important to them. If you know what's important to them and you've heard them, they feel understood. When they feel understood, they have high affinity for you. If they have a high affinity for you, they're going to like you. And if you're a coach, a speaker, an expert, they need to like you to work with you. So make sure you understand what's most important to your clients, because if you don't, they're not going to enroll. And even if they do, they're not going to like you. They're going to take time to get to like you. And they're like, I don't even know this person, when they could know you right there from the beginning of the sales conversation, trust you, like you, and then they're going to succeed better in the program, most likely because they already know, like, and trust you. That is the sales conversation of the day. Take those 3 lessons, implement them in your business. If you are an able person, you will make money from this. See you soon.